Hey there guys, welcome back to the worst Warmachine channel on the internet. I'm Malorian, and it's time for another Warmachine battle report. In fact, you are getting a double header, because today it's going to be Magnus2 versus Infernals. And I say Infernals because the first game is going to be up against Omodamos, and the second game is going to be up against Fiora 4. So both these games kind of went around the same way, and, you know, especially the first one's a little bit shorter, so I thought, you know what, let's just kind of like combine these together. It kind of makes sense. So I've been in love with Magnus2 for a long time. Love that feat, love what it does, and so coming back into it, I was, of course, playing him now after the quarantine, doing some very embarrassing losses as I was making stupid mistakes, but now I think I found my post-quarantine list that I like the most with it. I think the rust is off, and it's time to do some great things. So the first one here is going to be my Magnus2 up against Omodamos. My list is there in the comments, just in case you're wondering about it, and the Toro that is on Gatsby, that's going to be the one that's painted differently that you see on the left side there. So in this first one here, it is up against Omodamos, like we said, with a bunch of Tormentors. And the big thing here is that I see it as I having a significant advantage in this matchup. The reason is that whereas we're both like, oh, it's a bunch of heavies that have counter charge, except they get extra and synergy and rip things apart. Well, the big thing is that I have reach, he doesn't. I have big ways to extend my threat. He, to an extent, does, but not really like I can. And more importantly, is just my feet. My feet is going to be taking away that counter charge, and then basically I can like charge into him feet, knowing that now you can't really move around, and then just keep on going. So it's a very aggressive strategy. Luckily, with the +1 to go first with Anastasia, who's off the board, and Irregulars giving me a reroll to go first, I can usually consistently get it. But yeah, the plan is here is not really so much scenario or anything like that. It's really just get in, hit extremely hard, and then kind of see what to go from there. Like sometimes a scenario is pretty simple to go with, sometimes it's assassination. It's going to be whatever the situation presents itself. So in this one here, I did get the first turn, and so the way that I normally do my first turn play is I have Escort up onto Magnus. He puts Bullet Dodger up onto Gatsby because he loves having that spell, and then otherwise I am just charging up and running up, making sure to keep everything out of range of that gate so it doesn't blast me the first turns here, and then yeah, just waiting to see what he's going to put up there. Also making sure that if he isn't too careful, I can get there and get into the gate. The gate's actually kind of interesting in this matchup here because with it placing things, it can kind of get around my feet. So I don't like that, and I want it to go away. So on his turn, he summons a Lamenter. It's going to be coming up there just to try and get in the way and to protect some things. He definitely wants to try and use that forest to his advantage to block line of sight, and whereas he can still see my big Colossal. But yeah, I still have a lot of things that are around that I can get into, and so that's perfectly fine. A big thing to keep in mind here is that my Blockader has an 18-inch threat. So normally 12, it's going to be 14 with Magnus, goes up to 16 when I have the whole bloodthirst whatever thing from Gatsby, and then I also in this list have Lanyssa, and if I Hunter's Mark something, well yeah, I'm going 18 inches charging for free. Really nasty. So another thing that you can't see very well because I don't think he's painted that model yet is that he has a solo sneaking off to the left. I think he's trying to make a sneaky scenario play here, and so what he's really setting up is that if I don't go into him, and he didn't really give me a lot right now, he's staying outside of my threat range, is that he can destroy my objective, he can capture the right zone, he can run to the left zone, and run something to the flag, so he's setting himself up for that. But the one things I can do is actually bring Anastasia and just kill that solo on the left. So at first I was going to do that to contest it, but you know, let's just kill it. And I think a big thing here too to think of when you're a Magnus2 player is that you don't need to feed. That's how I've been losing some of my games so far, is that I go like, oh, it's turn 2, time to feed, and then I just get destroyed because I don't capture enough. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm not going to feed yet. I'm going to spray off that Lamenter that's in my face. I'm going to kill that solo, and otherwise I'm just going to edge up and be in a better spot for next turn. So that's what I do. Anastasia comes in, kills that solo. That's amazing because not only is it making so that, you know, he can't do that whole trick where he takes the zone, but he's also down a very important solo that could have been a very critical heavy or something, and that's just all off the table now. So otherwise, I have the one little drone there, the little kill bot that's contesting the left zone. I'm able to, between Lanyissa's little shot and the sprays, kill off the Lamenter, and otherwise, yeah, just kind of edging up there and getting ready for a better feat turn next turn. Now, it does seem like he can still get into the right zone, and he can, but there's no way he can get that objective and not be countercharged. And I can just do that in a way that I'm in the zone. So he does go for it, so that's kind of my gotcha for this game, where he charges into the objective, I countercharge, do a little bit of damage, he destroys the objective, so he's going to get 1 point there. But yeah, largely then, not too much else. He is going to also get he gets one more from the left side too, where he gets to go up there and blast it with Orin, the little kill pot that was contesting the left zone. Otherwise, he is going to be summoning in another Lamenter that's going to be going into the left zone. He does not throw away his solo into the center. He could have gone up another point, but I mean, that solo is definitely going to die, and they really need solos. So he's gone up 2-0, so that's not the worst thing. But he's already been hit once on the right there, and now I'm in a spot where I can really hit his lines fully across the board. So that's what I plan to do. I need to take out that gate. I need to take out a couple of heavies, and now I can feed away. Because this was actually his feat in order to get into there, I can actually now capture pretty much everything on the right, forget the left, and put him in a really tough position. So that's really what I do here. You know, Gatsby is kind of doing his thing over here, contesting and being in a spot where he can threaten whatever goes in. On the right, I put on the Hunter's Mark onto the gate, charge in there with the Blockader. It destroys the gate, just hurts some other things. The other Toros are really picking on the stuff on the right, so they kill 2 Tormentors, also hurt the Desolator. Of course, Magnus is up there, way up there. He's past half because he also charged the gate. I mean, that's a great thing, is that with Hunter's Mark, he's getting it too. So he's way up there. He's basically capturing everything that's not those two, like the heavy and the light on the far left. And so everything is locked down there. Orin's also there just to keep me a little bit safer, saying that he can't come down towards me and also can't come to the left so that there's no sneaky Desolator attacks. But yeah, you know, with this here, I'm going to counter score 1 from the right zone, also scoring the flag, so it's 2-2. And yeah, obviously the main thing here is not the scenario, it's the supreme you know, attrition advantage, and now there's not really much he can do. And in fact, when we kind of assessed it after, it's like, yeah, there's nothing you can meaningfully do such that no matter what, either I'm going to win on scenario next turn or be in such a lead that I'll win on scenario the turn after. And that's if I don't just kill the caster. So after we look at it for a while, we talk out some different scenarios and it's like, yeah, this is really done. So we just call the game here. So win for Magnus2. And yeah, I think again, this is just like a perfect scenario of what this list wants to fight. Alright, so we have now a rematch for this game too, and why I say that is it's going to be me against Mark, you know, good old should have boosted co-hosts fighting against each other, but this is going to be the Magnus2 versus Fiora 4. Now, we played this game before, and we talked about it on the podcast, and this is one where I went in and it's like, well, you're feeded on, you're locked down, you lose, and then for some reason in that game, I thought I was control 14, not 12, so then it turns out that I wasn't really locking down anything, and his heavies came in and took out my stuff, and it was just a flop of a game. It was, so we need to redo this, so that's what we're doing here. It's really the same plan as before. I know he has these bastions, he's going to run to my face, I'll kill them, I'll feed on him, and the biggest thing that I need to make sure I do in this game is give him no road to war, so that's what we're going to try and do. Unfortunately, though, even when I had +1 in the reroll, he also has a +1, and he won the ability to go first, and, you know, I'm kind of okay with that. You know, it's not the best, but what can you do? So on his turn, he kind of comes up there in a way that I can't get anything on him yet. He has the spells on him already, so that his heavy on the right is the one that has extra armor, and it has a vengeance if it gets hurt, basically. He also has vengeance on the bastions. He have +2 mat, so they're pretty good. And there's another spell somewhere, I can't remember what it is. So really, when I looked at this, I realized that I had not deployed correctly, because my Blockader can't really be where it wants to be with that building and that objective, and I don't want to get pinned in there. So what I'm going to be doing is my normal type of spells, but I got to crisscross my jacks. So that's what I do. I have, Magnus going up there, trying to keep myself safe, of course. The 3 Toros go to the right, Blockader's now on the left. Had to spend some time doing that, put some clouds in front of me. And again, I'm trying to be very careful here, because Fiora can do that little hatred spell. And not only does it give her more tokens so that she's going to get stronger and stronger and more focus, but I mean, it's killing stuff too. So I'm trying to keep all of my little solos safe. And again, on top of that, oh, that's the other spell, Road to War. I don't want any Road to War triggers whatsoever. So he should come into me now, and then I'll be in a really good spot to counterfeit. So that's what happens. He actually spends quite a bit of time during this turn trying to figure out how to set it up properly, and there's just not really a good answer. I mean, the Incinerators want to go up as far as they can, but not to the point where they're triggering counter charges, so that's why they stop where they are. The Arcno comes up so he can start hitting the left Toro. I think he does like 1 damage, but the damage wasn't the point there. Again, it's just trying to get him hatred tokens so he can try and go up on that. He also put up Shadow up onto my Blockader, so now when it moves, one of his warrior models are going to get to move, so that's going to be kind of interesting. And then otherwise, yeah, he has his things set up there and just waiting to see what he's going to do. So looking at this here, again, I'm not really caring about scenario. I'm pretty sure this is not going to come down to that. This is going to be like an attrition thing or something like that. But the biggest thing here is that I want to explain how this is going to go. I measured where I can actually get to, and I can charge Magnus into that one bastion. And then what happens after is that I can then feat and basically catch everything except for the choir in the back. So that's exactly what I want to do. What's going to happen though is that I'm going to go up there with the Blockader, he's going to trigger Shadow, and then he's going to move one of his solos into where Magnus wants to be. So that really starts throwing off the turn where I want to go and try and kill it first before Magnus goes, but this is the outcome. So the outcome is that in the end, I still got it done. All those 3 bastions left, all just have 1 box left, so I didn't kill them, and so that's very unfortunate. But, Magnus is way up there, camping too, but everything is feeded on. My left Toro killed the Dervish that was in that zone, so I'm really not worried. There on the right, Anastasia came in just to make sure to contest that, and as you can see here, everything else is hiding. I have a cloud there beside my Blockader. All those little things there are like stealth in a trench behind a cloud, behind a Blockader. I do not want them to die, but yeah, I did have to go way up there with Magnus, so there is a chance there they could get some really hot dice with Fiora and maybe kill me, but otherwise there's not really much else he can do. So on his turn, that's what he does. Fiora goes and tries to hit Magnus with everything he can. He does do 9 boxes in the end, so that's something. I'm pretty hurt now. I'm going to have to run now. But otherwise, yeah, he kind of backs up with Fiora. Nothing else can really do too much. A little bit of shifting around. But of course, now I kind of get my second alpha. And so my biggest things here is, obviously, I'm going to be able to kill a lot of things. I'm going to kill the rest of the Incinerators. I need to kill at least 1 heavy. But what I need to do on the other side is I need to keep Magnus safe somehow, and I need to start pressuring the scenario to close this game out before he completes his assassination. So the way that I do that is, again, Shadow's there, which is such a pain. So I have to go up there with the Shadow. He comes up to engage Magnus. I have to then kill the model that's on Magnus so I can run it away. But basically, this is the way it's going to end up, is that Magnus just ran his full 10 inches away. He has a cloud in front of him. I am a little bit worried that he might go for Gaspy. Gaspy's just camping 1, but within the range of Orin for any spells. But what I am able to kill off is the heavy on the left. I kill the objective. I have my little flappy widget onto the flag on the left there. And then otherwise, I kill off all the incinerators, and then that's pretty much it. So I am going to go up 2-0 on scenario, which is not too shabby. I'm going to spot here now where I can threaten a lot of points next turn, because Gaspy can score the left zone, Magnus can score the right zone. He's going to have a hard time freeing up his flag and probably won't have the resources to get to my flag. So I realize he's going to come in and hurt me, but he shouldn't be able to stop me, and more importantly, he shouldn't be able to kill Magnus. So he comes in, and basically Fiora is able to easily kill the Jack there on the left, the one that was Gaspy's. Meanwhile, the heavy comes into the Blockader, more than half kills it, so it does a lot of work. Otherwise, other things are coming in, but, you know, armor 22 on my Toros, they're pretty solid, so he does like a little bit of damage, but not too much. The main thing is, though, he doesn't contest my flag. So in the end, all I need to really do is to even overshoot, because that's now 3-0, is that Magnus runs to the right zone, Gaspy runs to the left zone, I score 3 more points, and that's it. I win this one 6-0. So I think the biggest thing I want to take away from all these games is it's not like Magnus2 is unbeatable. It's not like Magnus2 is the ultimate killer of Infernals or anything. It's just these two lists really kind of show the exact things that Magnus wants to fight. They want to fight something that's combat oriented and does not have a lot of long threat that they can kind of keep out of Magnus's feet to charge back in, and especially things in there where they have like not even reach. Like with the first list there, that's exactly what wants to prey on. So there was the threat here where maybe Fiora 4 could go and get like that spell assassination, but even then it's just the math isn't really there. You'd have to really have a spike, and then it's really hard to try and close it out after, when Magnus can basically be like, okay, take all my focus, I'm going to run away, and I just need to survive for the rest of the game. So I am loving this list. There's a couple of small things I'm thinking about changes, like for example, Gaspy's Toro could turn into a Nomad, and then I had 1 free point, so I could add a Tinker in there. I don't know if that's really worth it or not, but otherwise, this list is great, and I'm more wondering what I need to pair with it. So there you go. There's the double header. I hope you liked watching it. If you had any thoughts on any of the games, or, you know, my lists or anything like that, please post it down below. And otherwise, we'll catch you later. Bye.